Movember is the leading charity trying to face men's health, and they deal with male mental health, testicular cancer and prostate cancer. So obviously mental health and suicide prevention, the most alarming statistic is one man globally dies by suicide every minute of every day, and they really try to sort of raise awareness about that and obviously raise funds and various projects around the world to obviously get people to obviously understand how much of an issue it is, and then obviously hopefully reduce that. They also deal with testicular cancer. So testicular cancer is the most common cancer in young men, and I think it's such an important thing for sort of people our age group, because it's something which often goes sort of undiscovered, and it's one of those things which, when discovered early, it's very treatable. And I think Movember really push for guys to obviously check their balls and if they feel there's an issue, reach out straight away and talk to a doctor, because if you catch it early, then it's very likely to be perfectly treatable. And then prostate cancer, 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in their lifetime, which I think is, when you think about it, in a group of 8 friends, statistically one of you is going to get it, and I think that's just such an alarming statistic. And I think, again, Movember do great work to raise awareness of that and get people to just go to the doctor and check up on it. In whole, Movember is just trying to help raise funds and awareness to just try reduce sort of the alarming statistics around male mental health and cancer. And I think as a university and society as a whole, we can work hard to obviously raise funds, but also just increase the awareness around it and hopefully reduce the statistics that sort of shock us every day. I think mental health is massively important to me because in 2016, my older brother Fergus went through a stage of depression and eventually attempted to take his own life. I only found that out in 2018, and sort of looking back retrospectively, I was completely sort of unaware of it, and I could never sort of see that he was struggling. And to me at the time, he was sort of a big role model, and I looked up to him, and he was a typical sort of man, sort of rugby, popular, powerlifting, that sort of thing. And it's sort of, I would have never assumed that he'd be struggling mentally. So I think now it's sort of, I feel that I want to sort of really sort of focus on mental health and make sure that people are aware of how some people might be struggling, but they're not actually showing off the signs. Because I think looking back, I was so oblivious to it that you never know that so many other people might have family, friends who are struggling, but they just don't know. So I think campaigns like Movember and Male Mental Health Month are so important in society because it helps to raise awareness on a sort of wide scale and just brings to the front sort of what is a major issue to sort of everyone in society. Because, for example, one man globally dies every minute by suicide, and in the UK around 13 men per day. And I think that's always such an alarming statistic when people first hear that. And I think the great work that Movember and other mental health charities do is that they bring that to the forefront of people's minds and just make them aware of actually how big an issue it is and what needs to be done to resolve it. I just wanted to be the Movember Ambassador this year and last year because I think it's a great thing to do to just try spread that awareness of what the charity does around university and just around sort of my peer group. And I think it's just what the charity does to increase awareness and obviously raise funds to help improve male mental health around the world. It does such a good job of that. And I think from following on from what happened with Fergus, I really wanted to sort of lead that and have a hands-on role and hopefully help people and never know, hopefully save some lives with working alongside Movember. I think talking and reaching out is the hardest step, and I know from my personal experience when I've been struggling mentally, it's sort of talking to your peers or your family or just someone around you. That's always the hardest part. I think everyone wants to sort of keep it inside and try sort it out themselves, whereas actually that's the worst thing to do. And Movember does so much work about reaching out and talking saves lives, and I think that's such an important thing to remember. Be aware of how people who you might look up to or might see as role models aren't, or just anyone around you, they aren't necessarily in the best headspace. They might not be showing it, but I think you just I'd have to be aware that everyone around me could be struggling. And I think the phrase all that is gold doesn't glitter, I think it's perfect because it shows that people on the exterior might look absolutely fine, but then inside they might be having a really tough time. So I think just be aware of the signs and just always be there to sort of talk to your mates or to your family, or just sort of be there as a a sort of sounding board, because you never know when someone might need to just reach out and speak to you.